Hey guys, what's the one thing you want to do whenever you go to a class reunion or a family reunion? That's right, especially if you're married, your wife will tell you, make sure you take lots of pictures. Well, I had a reunion of sorts in that I have done a video already on this gun, which is a Himmler, Heinrich Himmler presentation to the snipers. Well, I actually have three of them, kind of like a class reunion. I can't put all three in my hands because I'll bang them together. So I have three Himmler presentation guns, not all belonging to me. One does belong to me, but the other two were local, so I put them together and said, class reunion, gotta get pictures. Before I go through these and compare them for you, let's take a look at some of the background of this particular presentation gun. As I open up the case, you can see it has the brush. It has dummy rounds, which we've seen before in the Walther boxes, also in the cased Sauer. This is a Sauer 38H. You can see two magazines. Both of them have SS on the bottom, but the most important part, let's get to the gun. Here we have the gun itself. Now, you do see Himmler's autograph there. It's a very distinct autograph, and I've seen it in other documents. Certainly replication of his was prevalent, but also original autographs are pretty expensive. And we can see on the left side, there is an inscription that says, Dem Scharfschützen, which means the sharpshooter, or other people have said, loosely translated, for the sharpshooter. And that's exactly what this was. This was a presentation gun that Himmler gave out to sharpshooters. Now, I want to go into a little more detail, but let's finish up with the gun. On the other side, you see a little bit of a company logo, which is different. If we take a look at a factory standard 38H, you'll see the logo is much different. Here, it's a special logo. It's a high polish finish throughout. Just look at the shine. There's a little schmutzy at the back, the bottom back strap. But other than that, it's just a phenomenal gun. You can see another one was on Rock Island auction, not quite as nice a shape, but that was the gun only. This one is the gun with the original presentation case. Now, when I look into Jim Cate's book, which is now actually out of print, as of 2012, and then he updated it in 2015, there are only 5 of these known. However, the serial range is in the 475,000, and you can see the exact range there on your screen. But in that range, there were no more than 20 made, maybe 15 to 20 that were made. We believe it's a complete block in that serial range, where in 1944, Himmler ordered about 15 or 20 of these to be made. Again, in 2015, there was only 5 known. I think maybe 1 or 2 have shown up since then, but certainly less than 10 are known of these sniper presentation pistols. This reward, besides the badges that people got for 20 kills, 40 kills, and 60 kills, there are letters written by Himmler where he directs, as part of a recruitment drive to get more sharpshooters, that after 50 kills, you would get a wristwatch and a special leave, which means, you get to go back home for a short period of time. So the wristwatch, I'm not aware of any of them being found. However, after 100 kills, the sniper would have his choice. You could either get a really good pair of binoculars, a hunting rifle, or this pistol. And it all said they were to be inscribed to the sharpshooter and signed by Heinrich Himmler. So if this was actually given out, it was probably given out in early 1945, although maybe it never was. And again, it came in this presentation case. Okay, here's the 3 guns, along with the presentation case that one of them came in. Now, I said in the video, I know that there's at least 5. I know of 5. I do know where one other one is. It's out in California, and it also comes in a presentation case. So there still are only 5 that I know of that have been documented, at least with me. I say there might be more, total of 20 probably made. 50 were ordered. I'll show you that a little bit later. So 50 were ordered, but they were ordered in January of 1945. They didn't even fill this order then until February or March. We do know that Himmler was giving out presentations still in February and March, but it's very likely that these were never delivered, meaning they were made in February or March. They were meant to go to the snipers. They may or may not ever have been delivered. And so therefore, we don't know if they were. There's no proof that they were. There's no proof that they weren't. However, they just as easily could have been picked up at the factory by GIs. This was not made probably in the same factory. So maybe these were picked up separately and then put together later, or maybe they were found together. I do know, however, that this case is specifically for a Sauer. First of all, it's a perfect fit for the magazine, and it's unique to Sauer. Other magazines, like a PP magazine, is okay, but not a great fit. And then you can see from the cutout and from the indentation, there's a little circle right here, and that would be this circle on the grip. I don't know if you can see that. Circle on the grip. You can see that that's the indentation of a Sauer. Also, the ejection port right here is perfect for the ejection port on the Sauer. And again, this is a Sauer 38H. So we know that this case was intended to be a presentation, but two of the guns that I'm showing you were not found in presentation cases. One was, and one in California is. All that is to say, maybe they came with a presentation case, maybe they were found separately and put together later. Let's compare the three guns. First, what stands out, let's look at the Himmler autograph. Now, when I got, this is the one that I own, and I saw the little speck right there, and I said, huh, it looks like maybe they made a mistake, or that's just a dent. But when we look at all three, notice the R, how it trails up, and the dot on all three of them. So we know that the dot is crucial. If you come across a fake, first of all, it won't be in the correct serial range. I gave you the serial range. All three of these fall into the correct serial range. Again, February of 1945. These are high polish when they no longer were doing high polish in 1945. Here's actually a picture of a Sauer from the same time period, and you can see it had a dull military finish. The other thing we notice is the white wax. I believe that is from the factory. Some people tell me the first thing I do is remove the white wax. In this case, I think you'd be hurting history. Also, white wax starting to go away, no white wax. So the jury's out. I'm not sure if this was originally white wax pencil, but 2 out of 3 have the white wax. Notice each one of them have the, I think it's zinc trigger, and they are not finished at all. All three are high polish. Now, before I turn them over, I want to point out one other thing. The wear pattern. These were not stored in a holster, I don't believe. So if they were presented or never presented, they weren't put in a holster and carried around on the Eastern Front or the Western Front. The wear pattern, the only wear, is just spotty wear that I would guess would come from being in a display case. Close it down, but maybe there was a spot of moisture or ink dye from the stain, the purple stain or the reddish stain. It sits on here and causes that corrosion. The second one, just a little bit of holster wear there, but the biggest problem is right here, which that doesn't come from the holster. Where would that come from? Well, again, it hits right here. Let's just imagine that there's just a little bit of moisture that gets in there. You let it dry out, but it isn't quite 100% dry. You leave that in there for many years, and that's the only way, that kind of a wear pattern. So it's just ironic that wear here, just totally random wear here, totally random wear, and the third one, wear here, totally random wear. And again, over here. In other words, holster is going to just wear right here. Why a spot right there? I think these were stored in presentation cases. Again, just a guess. Now, let's turn them over. They all have the same inscription on the back, which is unique to these presentation guns. You see, I already mentioned the wear pattern here. You see 2 have the white wax and 1 does not. So I don't know what to conclude about that other than it's interesting. If you have one or know of somebody who does, report back and let me know. I do know collectors who they tell me when I buy a gun like this, the first thing I do is remove the white wax because it's an abomination. So it's possible that this person, maybe they never put the white wax in. I do think this is factory, by the way. I have other presentation guns that have that white wax in it, and so I believe the presentation guns, they at least put the white wax in here. I will say, in fairness, this one looks, well, look at the white on here. It's almost too bright. And what I would expect is that the white wax would yellow over time. That, I think, was added. Not sure about this. This looks like it very easily could be original. And this could be original. I can't say for sure. So I'm just running this stuff by you. I don't know that you'll ever run into one and have an opportunity to buy one. I will say these are extremely expensive. So sticker shock, I'm not going to tell you the prices, but this could buy a very nice sports car. So 3 of them here. We've got 3 sports cars, or altogether a house. Hard to imagine. This is laminated, so you might get a little bit of glare, but I wanted to make sure I went over a little more history. This comes from Jim Cate, although he does quote that Joe Wadka did present an article, and I have that article about the Himmler signatures. They documented that these were actually ordered. Here is a loose translation from Himmler himself, written in January. So mid-January of 1945, Himmler is writing to Max, and actually that's Max Rulin, and you can see that he was Himmler's cousin. And so, there's the date, January 11th of 45, and he says, if you've already heard, he's basically saying, I want to promote, or I want to encourage, I want to reward the snipers. Every sniper gets a wristwatch and a special leave from me for 50 kills. After 100 kills, and by the way, we show a wristwatch. I want to clarify in that video, that is not an actual presentation wristwatch. It's just an example of that period. Same way with, I think we show you a drilling. That's not one of the ones that he gave away. I just want to clarify so it's not misleading. But he gave away wristwatch for 50 kills along with a leave. After 100 kills, every sniper gets a hunting gun or a pistol or good binoculars. So here's a ironic and prophetic statement. Are you able to deliver 50 binoculars and then maybe later 250? He was truly in denial. This is January. They're losing on the southern front, the eastern front, and the western front. They're knocking on the doors, and in another couple of months the war will be over. And he's saying, I may need 250 more. So total denial on his part that the war is over and you're never going to take delivery. In fact, I believe he wanted to get 50 guns, maybe 25 rifles and 25 of these. It's theorized that they only made about 20. He was going to order more, but of course the war ended. And as I said, I'm not sure these were ever presented. I can't say they were or they weren't. Either way, they were ordered by Himmler at the end of the war. Why are they taking the time to make these presentation guns? Actually, that leads me to 2 other examples. I've done a video on these before. These are actually chrome. They were ordered in 1944. You can see that they're in the 417,000 range. This one is, it's hard to see with the chrome, a lot of shine, but 236 and 237. There's actually a block of 100. There's also about 100 high polish presentation 22 calibers in 1944. So in 1944, this is the Walther factory, is taking time to make special presentation guns at the end of the war, and so is the Sauer factory. So all that tells me is a little bit about the psyche of the Nazis. They knew they were losing the war, no question about that, and there were people, certainly the soldiers on the front knew it, and they were getting pretty disheartened. But people back in Berlin, including Goebbels, Himmler, and Hitler, All were still in denial that some miracle weapon was going to come along and save the day. But in fact, that was just a pipe dream. So they were still trying to build morale and taking the time. They felt it was worthwhile to stop production on well-needed weapons in order to make these presentation pieces right in the final months of the war. So it just tells you a little bit about their thinking toward the end. So in spite of all these efforts, it's highly likely that a lot of these awards were never given out. And these chrome guns in particular, from the Walther factory, there's no documentation as to who ordered them or who got them. But we do know that many of them were picked up at the Walther factory at the end of the war and made their way into the hands of collectors. We still see a lot of conjecture from collectors about who they were supposed to go to. I think it was Hitler's personal bodyguards, but I'm totally making that up. There's about 100 of these made right at the end of the war, along with these sniper presentation pistols. And that's what makes this hobby so much fun. There's so many interesting guns to collect and so much history to learn. Thanks for watching, and make sure you stay tuned because I've got another really cool presentation gun to show you.